another Gettin Real with Ashleydawn, and this one is going to be a feisty one, okay? It's going to be a feisty one because sometimes I have to learn my lesson the hard way, a lot of times. And so I was just, driving and talking to God, and God was just really speaking to me something fierce. And no, it wasn't like a loud, audible voice. It was just speaking to my spirit with a deep, knowing. One of my friends says it'll hit you in your knower, and just like a deep knowing. So I really struggle with saying yes. I say yes way too much to things and people that are not a blessing to me. And, people will say, oh, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Okay. And then, I'm there and I'm having a horrible time because these people, are mean or cruel or are saying mean things about other people or are just life suckers and they just drain you and suck the life out of you. Or, I say yes to do something that I really don't want to do. Like maybe somebody needs help and out of the kindness of my heart, I want to help them, but I really don't want to. Does that make sense? So anyway, I say yes to a lot of things, and my mom is really good about it, and she'll be like, Ashleydawn, you need to do your priorities and your responsibilities before you worry about other people's responsibilities. And ever since I was a little girl, I've always been a helper. I want to help everyone. I want to fix everyone's problems. Obviously, if they ask me to fix their problems, I'm not just going to go around doing things for people that don't want me to. But if somebody asks me for help, if they need help moving, or they need help with their hair, or they need help with clothes, or they need help with insert thing here, normally I say yes. One of my friends the other day needed a haircut, gave her a haircut. One of my friends a couple weeks ago needed me to style her for an event, styled her for an event. One of my friends needed to borrow something, let her borrow it. All throughout my life, if anybody needs something, I try to always have it. And I'll even say, when I get ready to have my yard sales and I'm going through stuff, in the back of my head, I'm like, could somebody use this? I shouldn't get rid of it because somebody may need it. And really what that is that's people pleasing. You want to make everybody happy. But one of my friends used to say all the time, you're not an ice cream truck. And even an ice cream truck don't make everybody happy because it doesn't have every ice cream in the world. And even then, some people don't like ice cream. So even if you're trying to be all things to all people and you're trying to do all things for all people, you're still going to let people down. So you kind of have to get comfortable letting people down, and you kind of have to get comfortable with people maybe not being the happiest with you and maybe not, getting their way all the time. Another one of my friends used to tell me, Ashleydawn, all the time, Ashleydawn, if you're so busy making sure everybody else's life is running good, who's busy making sure that yours is? And I used to tell my friend all the time, oh, it's fine. God takes care of me. God takes care of me. And yes, God does take care of me. But God doesn't clean my house. God doesn't, do my laundry. God doesn't do the things that I need to do for me. He doesn't do that. He asks me to do that. And so it's very selfish of others to want me to, bend over backwards and constantly be doing for them, coming over, helping them clean their house, helping them move, helping them do their hair, helping them, and not allow me, which really it's not their allowance, but allow me to live my life and do the things that I need to do. And I saw another thing on Facebook, and it said, be careful if you're a giver because the takers don't know when to stop. And that's such a picture because so often the takers don't know when to stop. They just take and take and take and take and take until there is nothing left. That's when they stop, is when there's nothing left. Think about people at a buffet, and the trays are all out there and they're just loading up their plates, knowing darn well they're not going to finish all that food. They're just loading up their plates. And some of them don't stop until that thing is empty. That's how some people are in life. They will not stop until you have nothing left to give. They will not stop until you are completely empty. Some people are like that. And, I'm not their judge. But I'm in control of my own life, and I was raised different than that. I was raised to give. I was raised, if you got 2 shirts, you give somebody one. If you've got 2 biscuits, you share one with somebody, right? And that's just the way my parents raised me, and I'm very grateful for that. But you have to understand, not everybody raised you the way your parents raised you. Not everybody raised me the way Bobby and Michelle raised me. Not everybody was raised the way Bobby and Michelle raised me. That, I got a little tongue-tied there. But my daddy used to say it all the time too, Ash, not everybody has the same heart as you. And that's the hardest lesson I have ever had to learn, because I believe the best in other people. And in my head and in my heart, like, I truly believe that every person is good. Even though I know that some have shown me they're not. I still believe that there's some goodness somewhere in there. And that's one of my biggest struggles. Even when somebody shows me how ugly they are inside, I still want to believe the best in them. I still try to give them the benefit of the doubt until I get to a point where I realize, like, there ain't no benefit there. There's just all doubt. But realizing that not everybody is the same as me, and not everybody was raised the same as me, and not everybody wants to help and wants to care and wants to serve other people, was a really hard lesson. And I say is a really hard lesson that I'm still learning at 33. I tend to give and give and give and give and give, and sometimes I don't know when to stop. Sometimes I don't stop until I'm like completely exhausted and dehydrated and not doing the best. Because sometimes I'm so busy helping people that I forget to drink water, that I forget to eat, that I forget to take care of the things that I need to take care of. My house is a mess right now. I need to do laundry. I need to straighten stuff up. I need to do a deep clean. But I'm so busy driving around, fixing everybody else's problems, helping everybody else, and that's another thing. I look at myself and I look at, I have some debt that I'm working on paying off. And I look at that debt and where that debt came from, and a lot of it came from overextending myself. It came from buying things for people that they couldn't afford for themselves. It came from taking off of work to volunteer to do things for other people, whether it be to help them move or to speak somewhere, or taking off of work without making that money back, or maybe, taking off of work to help somebody with a wedding. Or I have sacrificed myself to help others so much that it has affected my finances. And that's not good, right? Other people don't care about your bills. They don't have to pay them. I will say, at work, there was a time, about a year, that I didn't have an assistant, and I was by myself all day long, and I couldn't go to the bathroom. This is getting real. I'm just being real. I couldn't go to the bathroom for like a year. I did not go to the bathroom, but like before work and after work. All day long, I didn't go to the bathroom at all. If I did, maybe it was like one time, and that was if I got somebody else to watch my classroom, because I didn't have an assistant and I couldn't leave all the kids by themselves. And you may be thinking, well, isn't that illegal? Well, I'm not the boss of the place that I work, but because of that, I got kidney stones. I got 2 kidney stones, and I was in excruciating pain. And I have over $5,000 worth of debt from my medical bills because my boss didn't give me an assistant so that I could go to the bathroom. And I dealt with it. And I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. And I just, I'm going to take care of these kids. I'm going to take care of these kids. But at what cost? I suffered. My boss didn't suffer. She had plenty of other workers. I suffered. Then I had to go to get the surgeries, and then I had to take off of work. And then I missed out on money because I wasn't working. And then, this doctor bill and that doctor bill and this doctor bill and that doctor bill. And it added up. And granted, my boss was nice, and she took me to a couple of my doctor's appointments, and I'm not saying anything bad about her. But I hurt myself with the kidney stones, with not going to the bathroom all day long to help her, because she was short-staffed. And I didn't complain about being by myself all day. Well, guess what? Homegirl don't play that no more. Guess who will have an assistant, or I will quit. Like, it is what it is. I am not going to put myself in that position again. I am not going to put myself in a position where I cannot go to the bathroom all day long. and I have to hold it all day long. That is not healthy for your body. That is not healthy for you. But sometimes people are so selfish, they're not thinking about you, they're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about how can they do what they need to do, how can they get their job done. And so I'm not saying that to throw anybody under the bus or to talk bad about my boss or talk bad about anybody else. But I am saying that givers will give until there's nothing left. And they'll sacrifice themselves. They'll sacrifice their health. They'll sacrifice their well-being for other people. Have you ever seen a mom go without eating? A lot of times moms sacrifice themselves so that their children can eat. Givers don't know when to stop giving. And takers don't know when to stop taking. So if you're a giver, I want to encourage you, learn how to stop. Learn how to prioritize yourself and your responsibilities over the responsibilities of other people. You are in control of your life. They're not. And they're in control of their life. You're not. Yes, you can help them. Yes, you can be a good friend. But at no point are you going to live their life, and at no point are they going to live their life. Are they going to live your life? I was talking to another friend. Her name's Taylor, and she's a photographer. And she was saying, all these people want her to do discounted or free photo shoots. And I told her, I said, yeah, I deal with that all the stinking time. I have one friend that will only invite me to do stuff with her when she thinks I'm going to bring my professional camera, when she thinks I'm going to take a whole bunch of pictures of her so she can upload them to her YouTube or her Facebook. And it's sickening because people will use you, and it's like, oh, hey, you want to go do this? Let's go to this pumpkin patch, and you can take all these pictures of me for free. No, I don't. My friends that work at the electric company don't give me a cheaper light bill just because they work there. I don't get discounts because my friends work at the light company. What makes you think you're going to get a discount because I'm a professional photographer? But I've had people so many times want something for free and then not even thank me for it. Like, I have done entire photo shoots for free for some of my friends, and they haven't even thanked me for it. Because takers will take until there's nothing left, and givers will give until there's nothing left. And that's a lesson that you got to learn. If you're a giver, learn your limits and set boundaries. I'm reading a book. It's called Beyond Boundaries. I think it's by Henry Cloud or Townsend or something. But it's helping you to set boundaries, to say no. And I'm learning how to say no. I'm learning how to prioritize myself and my needs over the needs of others. And that's not to say that I'm not helping people, but my needs come first. On the airplane, what do they say? They say, put your oxygen mask on first before you put the oxygen mask on for anybody else. Why? Why do you do that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if your oxygen mask isn't on, you're going to suffocate, and you will not be able to help anybody else. You will not be able to help anyone with their oxygen mask if you yourself are suffocating. If we're being real, how many of us are living our lives and we're suffocating? The weight of our life is so heavy on us, we can't catch our breath. The weight of everybody else's expectations on us is so heavy, we can't catch our breath. There's so many things vying for our attention and vying for our time. Like, for instance, for me, I get 2 days off of work. And a lot of time, I don't even get those 2 days off because I do photography on the weekends. So I work on the weekends too. Or maybe I film a commercial, or maybe I do some modeling for a company, or maybe I'm working with another company. So some Saturdays and Sundays I work. And even on Sundays, like the church I go to is like a 3-hour round trip. That's a lot. So 3 hours of my Sunday is driving, and then church, and then volunteering, and then everything else. Like, that's a lot. It's a lot, and it can be overwhelming, and it can be exhausting. And I'm not saying that to complain, but I'm saying that you got to learn your limits. You got to learn your limits, and you have to prioritize yourself over other people. In the Bible, it says to love your neighbor as yourself. Well, what does that imply? That implies that you have to love yourself first. Love the Lord your God with your heart, your soul, and your mind, and your strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Well, what does that look like? God, you, others. And I know some people say it's Jesus, others, yourself. I don't agree with that. Because if you don't feed yourself, if you don't eat breakfast in the morning and you make breakfast for somebody else, well, guess what? About lunchtime, you're going to be pretty tired because you're not going to have energy to do anything. You need to love yourself. Don't think yourself higher than you ought to. But at the same time, understand that you are valuable, that your life matters, that your responsibilities matter. If your house is a mess and you're on your way somewhere, turn around and go home and clean your house. If you need to do laundry and you're on your way somewhere, turn around and go do your laundry. If you have projects that you need to do, go home and do them. If you need to make dinner, go home and do it. At no point should you prioritize the needs of others over yourself. Like, yes, if you're a parent, if you're a mom, take care of your kids. That's beautiful. If you're a dad, I always forget the dads and the guys that are watching, but at no point should others' needs come before your own. Yes, God first, but you have to take care of your life. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else is going to feed you. Nobody else is going to take care of you. Nobody else is going to pay your bills. No matter how much they like you, no matter how happy you make them. And even that, okay, if you're a people pleaser and you're spending all this time trying to make people happy, well, guess what? There's going to come a day where you're not going to make them happy. And then what? Then all that work that you did to make them happy is for nothing? You gotta look at the big picture, not just the little picture. At different times in my life, have been a people pleaser. I have cared so much about making other people happy and helping everybody. And I did it in the name of Jesus. You know, I did it in the name of, well, I want to show the love of Jesus. I want to show them, you know, what being a Christian looks like, what being a Christ follower looks like. But last time I checked, Jesus's followers ate. Jesus's followers had clothes. Jesus's followers took care of their own responsibilities too. Do not cut yourself so that others don't have to be cut. And do not light yourself on fire so that other people can keep warm. Teach other people how to light a fire. Teach other people how to get a blanket. Your life matters. And it's special and it's important. And yes, I believe in following Christ's example. Yes, I believe in, doing what needs to be done. But Jesus got away from people too. Jesus told people no too. Jesus asked people that didn't have faith to leave the room. Jesus flipped tables when people weren't doing what they were supposed to do. Jesus got alone from everybody and went and spent time with his dad, God. You can get alone from people too. You can tell people no. You're allowed to. I know that we try to be like Jesus juniors and we try to, be little superheroes, but we're not called to be little superheroes. We have responsibilities and we need to do them well. We need to take care of our homes, we need to take care of our families, and we need to take care of ourselves. If you're not healthy, what makes you think anybody else is going to want what you have? They're not. You need to be healthy first. A lighthouse brings boats to shore because its light is shining. If it didn't put a new bulb in, its light wouldn't be shining. Put a new bulb in. Make sure your electricity is doing good. I want to encourage you. Your life matters. Your responsibilities matter. Make yourself a priority. Learn to say no. If it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't excite you, if it doesn't help you, don't do it. You don't have to live for the approval of others. You live for the approval of God and God only. I just want to encourage you. You do not have to do things because others expect you to. You do not have to be what other people want you to be. God has a purpose and a plan for you, and nowhere in that purpose or that plan does God want you to lay yourself out like a doormat and let people walk all over you. That's not His will for your life. I promise you that. Nowhere in the Bible does it say, thou shalt be a doormat. Thou shalt let people take advantage of you. It doesn't say that. So I just want to encourage you, learn to say no, make yourself a priority. I love you. That's what I'm doing. I'm practicing what I'm preaching. I am making myself a priority. I am learning to say no. And it's going to be hard. And maybe people are going to get upset with me. And that's fine. They can get upset with me. They can have a problem with it. That's fine. But my life is not for other people. My life is for the glory of God and God alone. I'm going to make Him happy. I'm going to make Him proud. And I'm going to live the most healthy life that I could possibly live. At no point am I going to lay myself down so that other people can be more comfortable. At no point in my life am I going to let other people tell me what to do and tell me how to do it and tell me how to live my life. God tells me how I live my life. And I'm going to live according to what He says. And if other people aren't happy with it, that's fine. They don't have to be happy with it. But am I happy with it? Is God happy with it? That's what matters. I just want to encourage y'all. I know I have a lot of friends that are people pleasers. I have a lot of friends that really struggle with this too, that don't want to let anybody down. And I've been there. Listen, I still struggle. I'm kind of ish there right now. I don't want anybody to be unhappy with me. I don't want anybody to feel like I don't want to help them. I love people. One of my biggest problems is I love people too much. And a lot of people have told me that, like, Ashleydawn, like, calm down. Why do you love me so much? Why do you love people so much? I'm like, I don't know how to love small. I don't. If there was a lesson in that, I skipped it. I don't know how to love small. I love big. If I love you, I love all of you with all of me. Like, it's either all or nothing. And I struggle with that, and I got to reel myself back. I got to pull the reins and be like, Ashleydawn, that's great that you love people, but are you loving yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you doing what God has called you to do for you? Are you doing that? Or are you so focused on everybody else, making sure everybody else has what they need, making sure all their problems are taken care of? I will tell you another thing. I've had the same, phone number for a really long time. And I used to leave my number on all the time. Like I wouldn't put it on silent. I would let it ring all throughout the night. And I would tell my friends, like, my dad got run over by a drunk driver. My aunt got killed by a drunk driver. My other aunt got killed by a drunk driver. There was a year in my life where 13 people in my life were either seriously injured or killed by drunk drivers. And so I was really passionate about it. And I said, listen, my phone's going to be on all night long. If you are drinking, please, please, please do not get behind the wheel. Call me and I'll come pick you up. Well, this was like back in the 2000s, right? Where Uber really wasn't a thing. And so I picked my friends up. I made sure they weren't drinking and driving. And goodness gracious, my friends could tell you some stories from when I picked them up. And I was kind of like the little taxi. But I would sacrifice my own sleep. I would be late for work the next day. I wouldn't be late, but I'd be tired for work. But I do all these different things because I loved my friends so much. I didn't want them to die. I didn't want them to get into an accident. And then my daddy told me something really important. He said, Ash, they're choosing to drink. They can call a cab. They don't need to call you. And he's like, are they giving you gas money? And I'm like, well, no. And he's like, well, that's great that you're doing this, but is your gas free? I'm like, well, no. He's like, so let me get this straight. You're not going out partying. You're not going out drinking, but you're paying for all the gas. You're paying for this. You're paying for that. And I was like, wow, yeah. And he's like, that's really selfish of your friends to not care about your work, to not care about your gas tank, to not care about your bills. Like, that's pretty selfish of them. But I didn't even see it because I was just looking like, I can help them. I'm making sure that they're not getting hurt, right? Sometimes we're just so rosy-colored glasses, we're so busy trying to help people and thinking about the good that we miss out, like, wow, this person is the same age as me, or they're older than me. If they wanted to make good choices, they could. If they wanted to maybe get a cab before they started drinking, maybe think ahead, maybe get a designated driver. Like, why are they inconveniencing your life? You're not inconveniencing theirs. And so the wheels started turning. Well, now they have Uber. So I turn my phone off at night because my sleep is precious to me. My immune system depends on my sleep. And so I need to sleep. It's important. If, you're watching this and you're like, wow, I haven't been sleeping. You need to sleep too. Sleeping is important. But I just look at that and it's like, how selfish do people have to be to care more about them and their good time than they care about you? I have been there so many times to where I have cared more about other people than I have cared more about myself, to where I have done things for other people at the expense of myself. No more will I do that. Yes, I'm going to be a good friend. Yes, I'm going to be there for people, but at no point is me being a good friend or being there for people, at no point does that come at the expense of myself. I'm not lighting myself on fire to keep other people warm. If they want to be warm, they should get a blanket. If they want to be warm, maybe they should, dress warmer. God gave them just as much sense as he gave me. God gave them just as many opportunities as he gave me. Nobody's better than the next person. So I just want to encourage you. Stop laying yourself out like a doormat and letting people take advantage of you. Stop going in debt for people that probably don't even appreciate it to begin with. Stop doing freebies and doing things for free for people. If you weren't doing it, they'd pay somebody else to do it. And a lot of time, if people don't pay for something, they don't appreciate it. Like the photography that I've done for people. The people that have paid for my photography, treasure it, honor it. The people I've done it for free, they don't really appreciate it. Some do. But the majority do not. One of my friends, Sean, is a photographer, and he did a free photo shoot in a sunflower field. And there was, I was there all day long, and there were all these different groups of girls coming through. He's pouring sweat. His shirt is soaking wet. Not one of them asked him, hey, would you like me to get you a water? Hey, do you need anything? Are you hungry? He was not charging for his services whatsoever. He was not charging for the pictures whatsoever. And they couldn't even ask him if he wanted a water. And a lot of them didn't even say thank you. I thought it was so generous of him to offer that. That is like amazing that he would give of his time to take really awesome pictures for people. And there were so many people that didn't even say thank you. And it's the craziest thing ever. But like I said, givers give until there's nothing left, and takers take until there's nothing left. I will tell you something about givers. Givers sleep better at night. They do. I sleep good at night. I sleep a lot better when I turn off my phone too. And when I say, you know what? I'm unavailable. And when I take time for myself, that's another thing. I used to be like the help hotline for all my friends. They would call me day or night, 24 hours a day, asking me questions and asking me advice. And I honestly used to pride myself in that people would come to me with their problems and that I could help them. And then I started realizing, wow, I'm not getting paid for any of this. There are psychologists and counselors that get paid hundreds of dollars an hour for worse advice than I'm given. There are life coaches that get paid hundreds of dollars an hour to coach people through their problems. Like, I could be getting paid for this, but I'm not. And so I stopped all that. Like, if a really, really close friend needs help, obviously I'll be there, but not to the extent that I was before. I would literally walk out of family functions or events and fix people's problems. I don't do that now. When I'm with somebody, my phone is off or my phone's on silent and I am spending time with that person. I'm not going to be on my phone 24/7. I'm not going to put my life on pause so that I can help somebody else out with theirs. Not my problem. My mom says, not my circus, not my monkeys. Like, I'm not in charge of this. I can't come over and make adjustments to your house. I don't own your house. I can't have roofers come and redo your roof. That's not my house. That's a word for somebody. I just want to encourage you. Learn how to say no and make yourself a priority. That's what I'm doing today. Ashleydawn is a priority today. And hopefully I can learn this now so that 10 years from now, I won't be in the same place that I am right now. Because my number one goal, obviously, is to make God happy. But right now, my like short-term goal is to pay off my debt, to get out of debt, to deal with my responsibilities, to deal with my medical stuff, and to be debt-free. So what that means is that it means that no more am I going to do things that hinder my health. No more am I going to work without an assistant. No more am I going to, not be able to go to the bathroom and not have a lunch break and not have things that I need to keep my body running the way God designed it to. God designed my body to need to go to the bathroom. God designed my body to eat food and to drink, water. And I'm going to do those things. And if at any point I can't do those things, then I'm going to move. Then I'm going to go somewhere else. Then I'm going to get another job. My life is a priority. Why? Because God says that it is. Your life is a priority too, because God says that it is. Do not sacrifice yourself at the altar of people. That's a word. Do not sacrifice yourself at the altar of people. The only altar that you are sacrificed to is the altar of Jesus Christ, the love of Jesus Christ. And here's the deal. When you were getting ready to sacrifice yourself, he stopped you and he said, "No, I've already done that. You don't have to be beaten. You don't have to be abused. You don't have to get nailed to a cross. You don't have to be humiliated in front of people. You don't have to be spit at. I did all that. I took on all that. You don't have to do it. It's already been done." So I just want to encourage you, make yourself a priority. Learn to say no. If people don't like it, well, they can stuff it. That's what my daddy would say. And that's what I'm going to say too. Your life matters. And if they ain't paying your bills and they ain't wiping your butt, they don't have a say-so in your life. If they're not taking care of you, they don't get to tell you what to do. I love you, and I'll catch you in the next one. You are seen, you are celebrated, and you are loved. I promise you that, by God. And if the people in your life don't see you, don't celebrate you, and don't love you, well, move around and get around some people that do. Okie dokie? I told you this one was going to be a feisty one. I am fired up. The Holy Spirit started talking to me something fierce this morning. And he told me to make myself a priority because I'm a priority to him. So I want to encourage you and challenge you to do the same thing. If you're on your way to go serve for somebody or to do something you don't want to do, turn around. You are a priority. God wants you to know that you are a priority. Say yes to God and say no to everybody else. I love y'all, and I'll catch you in my next one.